Welcome to Pioneer Support, where we make you compliant and factory efficient. Today's question is from Seasoning Tings, I think. Nuclear seems to be overwhelming. Any tips on how to start? But before we get on with that, please help feed Wilbur. He eats likes, he loves subscriptions, and he loves support on Patreon. Anything you can do to help would be great. This keeps the channel going. All right, on to nuclear. So nuclear is kind of interesting. There's a lot to do for nuclear. It's one of those things where you have to bring a lot of resources into wherever you're actually generating your power. Generally, what I do is I put my reactors near where the uranium is. See that tower up there? That is where, I think that's where the uranium's coming from, if I remember correctly, and that's also where my waste goes. But to answer your question about like how to get started and tutorials, let me go one step further than that, so you don't really need tutorials. I kind of like teaching people how to do this because then you're not reliant on anything but what's in the game. So what I always say is, like, if you don't know how to build something, in this case nuclear power, start from the last thing first. So start from the reactor and work backwards. And we know that for nuclear, we need fuel rods. So if you put this in the Codex, you hit N to get to the Codex, and then you can actually add it to your to-do list, and it'll pop up over here. And you can do that for each one of the ingredients as well. So I've already done this here. You can see I've already have for control rods and the items that make the control rods. So I now have a complete list of everything that I would, in theory, need to bring in. So, you know, if I have control rods being built somewhere else, I need to bring that here. Concrete, steel beams, stators, limiters. And encased uranium cells are going to be a byproduct of uranium, some other stuff. So let's start building it backwards and see what we can do. Again, this approach doesn't rely on like going to like a wiki or something. I really feel like a lot of the best parts of the game are is the design of the game, and they really make it very simple for you to not have to go out and find these resources. It's all right there in the game, which is fun. So I think a manufacturer is what we use to make fuel rods, if I'm not mistaken. And generally what I would say is, like, a really good approach for this is you can even, we're going to probably belt stuff in with drones, just for the simple fact that you could put a lot of stuff on a drone that'll cover everything here, even though the inventory is fairly small. And that's because all these parts are fairly complex, and you don't need that many of them per minute. As an example here, you need 1.2 encased industrial beams and 2 control rods. We may end up just making these locally, though. Okay, so now we know that as we're working backwards, we know we need these items here. So uranium cells, encased industrial beams, electromagnetic control rods. So let's see how to make the encased uranium cells. Okay, so they are made in a blender, and that's where we need that sulfuric acid from. That's probably going to be one of the trickiest bits in this whole thing. Now, if you notice here, I think I make sulfuric acid somewhere here locally. Is that it here? But yeah, so it's nice to find a place where you have sulfur and uranium close to each other, because that is going to save you some headaches later on. And also water. I don't know where I got the sulfuric acid from. Do I really? Maybe I even belted in. So this is my production plant for the actual uranium fuel rods. It doesn't have to be this fancy, but yeah, so you're going to have these components in there. That's a waste going out. Oh, I did an alternate recipe with sulfur only. Okay, that's actually a really good alternate recipe to get. I'm going to show you how to do it that way. Otherwise, you'd have to make sulfuric acid locally. I think that's what I did. But again, yeah, so it really is about finding a location. By the way, I can show you where this is on the map. This is kind of right by that big old lake, kind of in the middle of the map to the south. So let's see here. Yeah, encased uranium cells. Let's look that up again. Encased uranium cell. Yeah, so I got an alternate recipe that doesn't require me to make sulfuric acid, which saves a lot of time. So we're definitely going to do that. And that's also just used as a manufacturer, which is nice. So we'll put that over here. Now again, this is not my final, but I mean, it could be your final that you're building right now. That's all well and good. I'm just doing this to sort of illustrate. So this is going to be encased. Uranium cell. All right, so we've gotten that sort of done. Again, we're working our way backwards, right? So now we've fulfilled the requirement for this uranium cell as far as this machine's concerned. And then we're going to have encased industrial beams. Those we may just fly in. I think we'll probably do that because it's such a small amount. It's only 1.2 per minute. So what I'm going to do, just to sort of symbolize that, actually, well, I'll do that right now. Let's do this here. We're going to put down a drone port. And we'll put that over here, let's say. Again, this is obviously really quickly done, but should do the trick. And what I like to do with a setup like this, where you're going to have maybe a couple reactors or whatever, you belt everything in, and then you put in a programmable splitter that splits out the items that you need from what comes in on the drone. So this is going to be our encased industrial beams. So right output. You can also do this with a smart splitter. I don't know, I always just like the programmable ones because that way it's sort of future-proofed in case I change my mind on something. Okay, so now we've got that set up. We're going to connect to there in a second. And electromagnetic control rods. So you can see, you can either use stators and AI limiters or stators and smart connectors. I think the AI limiter stator combination is the default. So I'm going to take that because I think that's the recipe we'll most likely have. So we got a built-in stators and AI limiters. And we're going to do that on the same sushi belt here. By the way, if you don't know what a sushi belt is, it's just a belt that has multiple different items on it that you then split out later, like this. Oh, sorry, we got to make the control rods, don't we? Yeah, we need a new machine for that. Oh. There we go. Let's see what machine we need for control rods. Okay, that's pretty easy. It's just an assembler. Take the assembler here. I'm making a little room there for the belt that's going to go into the manufacturer. And then this is going to be our two items, which is the AI limiter and the stators, which we're going to get from another location in our map, because we probably already have these items, right? We've already probably made these by the time we're getting to nuclear. So it's just better to not remake them. I mean, you can here, but then you're going to have the built-in, raw materials or, even down to the ingots, but I wouldn't recommend that. Okay, so now we've got our electromagnetic control rods, we've got our encased industrial beams, and the uranium cells. So we're good to go. That's kind of it, actually. Okay, so, and then also just, this is a best practice kind of thing. Whenever you do sushi belts and you're bringing in a lot of stuff, just to be safe, I put a sink on the end because sometimes you don't realize it. You may program something wrong and send the wrong items to this drone port, and then you're going to have a big old mess. You might as well just make sure that you have here on the end any undefined. This also ensures that if these belts here get backed up, right, because there's too much stuff, then what will happen is that they will go right into the sink. They won't back up your entire process here. So to that end, we will also do here any undefined, and then we're going to add overflow. So what that means is it's going to put stators into this input for our assembler here. And if it's full, it's going to take that overflow and push it to the next, push it past to the center output. And if it's not full, it'll push any items that are not defined, that are basically not stators. And we're going to do the same thing for the next one here. Any undefined and overflow. And we'll do the same here. Here we don't have to do the, we just have to do the any undefined. Let's do the overflow as well, because it could actually happen. And then we're going to make this encased. Industrial beams, like that. Okay. So now we just got to make sure that we can fulfill this stuff here for the fuel rods, electromagnetic rods, that is. So let's make a little bit more room here. So like basically what you're making here is like you're sort of kind of getting your brain wrapped around exactly what you need, right? Just the bare minimum. And this is a good place to start too, because you can test that all your resources are coming to the location that you need them to be, and then you can just take this basic design and then build it out to multiple reactors. And it's as easy as just increasing the amount of output of your uranium fuel rods. You know, you can just literally go like this and make sure that you're feeding enough items into this manufacturer to make the enough fuel rods. I know I haven't talked about water yet, but that's kind of a minor thing. You can kind of get water. There generally seems to be water near uranium most places, because you know the game designers know that that's one of those things you're just absolutely going to need. Okay, so encased uranium cell is going to take a little bit of doing, so I'm going to let me just make sure I'm doing this right here. Oh, sorry, this is going to be, this is the encased uranium cells. That makes more sense. Select encased, whoops. Encased. Oh, it's a, oh wait, this is my, okay, I'm getting myself all confused there. Where is it? Yeah, okay, electromagnetic control rod, that's that guy. And then this is going to be, well, hold on, let's see, this should be the encased, yep. And the encased is going to be a different machine, right? Encased uranium cell. Yeah, it's the, this is the blender, okay. Nope, this is the manufacturer, so it should be in there. Oops. Select recipe. Where are you, buddy? Ah, there you are. Perfect. All right, and for this we're going to need the uranium. Obviously, we're not going to put that in right now, but we can put a little, you know, we can put a little belt out and kind of symbolize that it's going to be there eventually. Or we can just go like this here. Just so we know. Okay, so we got that covered, and silica we will probably also kind of, you know, just fly in because it's not that many. Quickwire, that could be something that could be an issue. We may just want to do a dedicated drone just for quickwire. It's not a lot, but it's a heck of a lot more. It's a lot in proportion to everything else, so it could slow everything down if we put that on the same drone port as these other items. And sulfur we're going to get locally as well. So this will be our sulfur input eventually. Alright, so then we need another drone port for quickwire. Let's put that over here. This will be our quickwire input. Alright, then all we got to do is belt in the silica. Let's go like this here. So we have room for that. And that can tap off our sushi belt here. Like so. Yeah, and then we go like this here. Since we have our sink now, not at the end. Yeah, let's keep that pattern going because it'll make it a little bit clearer what's going on here. Okay, so we're gonna go like this. It's gonna be our silica. And notice when I copied that machine here. By the way, you can copy items just by hitting the middle mouse button when you're hovering over them. When you copy an item that has settings, it also copies the settings, which makes it very nice to kind of lay things out quickly. Okay, so this output now will go to. I'm not going to move it because we don't really have to right now. All right, so we have all the items that aren't put into our assembler now or our manufacturer going here, which should in theory just be silica, and that's going now here to this machine to make our encased uranium cells. And everything else that is either overflow or not any of the 4 items that we're belting in from the drone goes to our sink. And over here we have our quickwire as its own dedicated drone. So that's pretty much it. Outside of that, you need water, and I think it's 120. I can't remember how much it is per reactor that you need. Let's see. Oh, sorry, it's only 50. So you basically only need 1 water pump for 2 reactors, and then you'll have a little bit of overhead too. So that's kind of it. You know, this is the easiest way that I've found to do it, just because drones make it really easy to sort of do these components that you need in small amounts and get them to your nuclear reactor. I would also recommend having this on its own power switch. So get a priority power switch and put everything that's related to your nuclear power plant on this. Because if you do that, here I'm going to call a nuclear power out. If you do that, then if you need to work on nuclear, you can basically cut the connection of all your power to your external grid, so you can like jump start it, or you can diagnose issues with it. Now keep in mind, if you do cut your power to the rest of your grid, it could cause other issues. So, you know, use with caution. This also is nice because since it's a priority power switch now, you can take and put this at the highest priority, here priority group 1, so it'll be the last thing to trip. So if, you know, the absolute worst case scenario is you're going to lose your nuclear power, but generally for most other scenarios, you're going to not have your entire grid go down. Another thing to think about with this, you probably don't want to, if you're going to keep going to Endgame, and that's your plan is to do plutonium power after this and then fixonium power, then you don't need a lot of reactors. Like as you can see in this save here, I only did 5 reactors, because essentially what I'm using is I'm using this to generate nuclear waste that I'm using for plutonium, because you need nuclear waste for plutonium fuel rods. And I think they fly out over here. And just to sort of illustrate what I did here, you know, that is based on the model that I just showed you. Here are all the drone ports coming in. I did it a little differently. Yeah, I have fuel coming in here for the drones. You don't necessarily need that if you have fuels on the other end. But in here, I've got AI limiters coming in. Sulfur I flew in. Wow, that's interesting. I guess you can actually fly in sulfur without a problem. And yeah, so I make my own encased beams here, I think. That's probably what that's for. Oh yeah, I make my own encased industrial beams here because I have concrete somewhere coming in. It's over there if you see it. So yeah, there's a little bit of a variation, but the idea is the same, right? Drones to bring everything in, build your reactors in your water and uranium. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. And if you're watching this and you have your own questions, leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to try to make a video to answer them. All right, till next time.